Hey, Mr. Fox here, and today what we're going to do is we're going to go over Lab 2.4 guessing game. I had a question from a student and I wanted to make this available for anyone else who has the same question. So we're going to jump right into it. We have our game done up to the point where our user can input a number and then it'll tell them whether or not they're right or wrong, and then they'll keep guessing until they get the right answer. So if we run this block of code here, it says I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. What number am I thinking of? I'm going to purposefully guess 2 here because I know that that's wrong, and it tells me that I have a wrong number. So I go back through again. What number am I thinking of? I'm going to guess another wrong number, 4. And then on this third attempt, I'll type in 1, and it is correct, and the game ends. So what we want to do now, right, in part 4 of section 1 is we want to actually add the ability to take the player name in here. So the main vehicle for this is going to be our ask and wait block again, right? So our ask and wait block allows us to take input from the user and store it into the answer block here. And then that answer block can be used to then set a variable, right? So we know that answer, when I use it in the game, is going to get reset every time. That's because it has to go with the ask and wait block. It's like this temporary container that I'm putting something into and then throwing out after I try and reassign it. So I'm going to ask, what's your name? And I want a variable that's going to hold the name. So I'm going to make a variable, and we can just call it player name. That's actually a really descriptive one. So I create the variable player name. And what I want to do is at the beginning here, I want to set player name to whatever answer I get from my answer block. So then I'll be reusing my answer here. Okay, so that will allow us to set the player name. So if we click here, we've got our player name up and we start our block of code. I can say Mr. Fox is my name. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. And so we're going to set my number to 10, it looks like. So what number am I thinking of? I'll guess 4, right? And then it's wrong number, try again. So then I'll guess the right number, which is 10, and it's going to tell me the same message. Now, the other part of this is that we want the personalized message when they have an incorrect guess. So there's a couple of different ways that you guys can do this. You can achieve this by just, having a say block, which will say their name. So now that we have a variable called name, player name, then I can drop this in here and it'll say 0 for some reason. Oh, I'm sorry. I set my number up here to the answer. So let's run through that again. So we're going to use Mr. Fox. And I'll input that there. So I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10, and I'll just go ahead and guess incorrectly to Mr. Fox. Wrong number, try again. So that's one way that you could achieve this, right? There are better ways that you can do this, though. For instance, you have this operator, right? Which will allow you to join 2 strings together. So maybe you'll say, something along the lines of this. So sorry, and then you want the player name in there as well. You guessed incorrect. So now this will join all of this together, and then we can say this in here. And I'll go ahead and get rid of this. And I'm actually going to replace this as well in there. So I'm going to use another join. Ooh, that is not correct. Okay, so you guessed correctly. And then I'm going to use this along with the player name to give the player some feedback. And I'll just drop that right in there. All right, so let's see if this will actually run. So, what's your name? I'll be Mr. Fox again. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 10. What number am I thinking of? Well, I'll guess incorrectly first. So it's saying, sorry, Mr. Fox, you guessed incorrectly. Try again. So that's a really good sign. That means that this is working for me. So maybe I'm going to increase the time of these messages to 4 and then 4 as well. So I'll guess incorrectly again. So I'll say this is a 6. And it looks like I misspelled incorrectly here. But as you can see, using the join block allowed me to take multiple strings along with some player input and create some messages that way. So the last thing that you want to make sure that you're doing for section 1 of this lab is that it's executing off of the start flag. So you just want to have your little control block here so that way when you start your game, right, you can press the green flag and it will start it. And we have Mr. Fox thinking of a number between 1 and 10. And I'm just going to guess correctly. It's my number. So this is a quick demo on how to finish section 1 of Lab 2.4. Make sure that you also go through section 2, right? So then you're also taking more player input. The most important thing about player input is you have to have that variable, right? So you need to make a variable for that input. And then after you use the ask and wait block, you have to set that variable using the set block. So just keep that in mind. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you and goodbye.